Hello, I'm Christopher Dre,
I'm James Batchelor.
and you are listening to Rare Replayed.
Press A! Hooray! It's time for Rare Replayed!
James, we are now on to episode 6.
Yep.
Episode 6 of Rare Replayed. I'm gonna ask you a challenge here, James. So, not ignore Rare Replayed, ignore the last one we did. The first 4 games, Perfect Dark, Banjo-Kazooie, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, Killer Instinct Gold. All 4 have one thing in common. What do you think that thing is? Apart from the fact that obviously they're all made by Rare.
They've all got an E in the title?
Do they? Hang on. It is that they've all had soundtracks that were either worked on or entirely scored by one man, Grant Kirkhope.
Ah, yes.
Who is probably, Rare music's great, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think the music is one of the things I think that best sums up the studio, and its quirky sense of humour, and its just generally fun attitude towards the games it makes.
Yeah, and you think down the years of iconic Rare moments, you do think of that Donkey Kong Country tune, the one where I don't know if you ever played Donkey Kong Country, James, but the gramophone plays the old Donkey Kong song and it bursts into the new one.
Nice.
There's the Donkey Kong rap, DK rap, obviously, but then there's also things like the Great Mighty Pooh song, and even in the Rare Replay collection, the song that opens up, they're a musical studio.
Yeah.
My favourite composer, and I love a lot of them, Robin Beanland and David Wise and all those sort of guys, but my favourite composer is probably Grant Kirkhope, because he did Banjo-Kazooie and Perfect Dark. And
I'm one of those sad people that downloaded the GoldenEye and Perfect Dark soundtracks when I found them online, and I listen to them when I drive along, and the banjo tracks are amazing. Even right up to Nuts and Bolts, and hearing the old banjo tunes that performed by full orchestra. There's just something amazing about that music. I
probably could put the Viva Pinata soundtrack on and fall asleep to it every night. Just blissfully fall asleep. And even the GoldenEye, I did it when I was in a band when I was a kid, and we had to do a James Bond song. I think at the time Limp Bizkit had done their Mission Impossible song. We were doing a James Bond one, and it was kind of based on the James Bond intro music that was in GoldenEye. We had a similar sort of structure to it. I love this. I'm so. We've got him on the show. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing a special if it's just the two of us chatting about him. And I just want to bring him on and just talk to him.
Yeah, I think we need to.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do it.
Shall we play some of his tunes so people?
I think so. Let's have a little medley.
A little medley.
We'll just go into it.
Okay. Here we go. Joined by Grant Kirkhope, composer extraordinaire. Grant, please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to join Rare.
Oh, that's a long one. Well, it was completely by fluke. It was. I was, I played in metal bands all my youthful years. I went to music college and did a music degree and etc. All that kind of stuff. But it was because Robin Beanland, who was the head of music at Rare, he was at the time, or later. He got a gig at Rare. And he played in local bands that I played in, and so we were good friends. And I'd been on and off on employment for like probably 11 years at least. I'd been playing in bands and signing on and playing in bands and all that kind of stuff. And he sort of said, Grant, he'd been there a year and a half. He said, don't you think you've been on unemployment benefit long enough? It's time to try to get a real job, is it? Kind of thing. I said, oh, well, I suppose so. So he said, well, why don't you try and do what I'm doing? So I said, well, I haven't got a clue. I've never composed in my life. I've never thought about it. I've written songs for the metal bands I was in, but that was it. So he said, he recommended some gear for me to buy, and I bought a copy of Cubase and an Atari ST computer and a Proteus FX synthesizer, and I just started writing tunes that I thought would be right for video games. I did play a lot of games at the time, and I sent like 5 cassette tapes to Rare over the course of a year. I never heard a thing, and then out the blue, I got a letter saying, "Please come for an interview," and I went down and got interviewed by Dave Wise and Simon Farmer, who was the general manager, and I got the job. Couldn't believe it. So that was my first job in my life at 33.
Nice.
33.
Yeah, I did quite well.
So you dodged that bullet for as long as you could, I guess.
Yeah, so I my mother was getting a bit tired of me being at home, so yeah, it was getting a bit like that. Yeah.
From rock star to games.
Games composer.
Yeah,
That's quite cool.
Award-winning games composer.
Of course.
You picked up
I
a
think
few.
I'll start stretching it.
So what was your first? Was it Killer Instinct that was your first title? That's what Wikipedia says, and that's all I have to go on at the moment. Was that your first title you worked on a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, Robin was doing the music for that one. When I got there, they were doing Killer Instinct 2. I think Graham and Robin did Killer Instinct 1 together, and then Graham got busy with GoldenEye and Blastcore. Robin was still doing the arcade machine KI2. So, because I was a metal guitar player, he was quite keen to get me to play some of the guitar on the Killer Instinct 2 track, so I did that. A bit of trumpet as well. Yes, I did that. But my first kind of game I did myself, well, not myself, but I converted Dave Wise's tunes from Donkey Kong Country 2 snares onto the Game Boy. That was my first task.
How hard was that?
I thought that was monstrously hard at the start. Dave was like really good at it, and I kind of remember that. I remember the first day. It was like today, 20 years ago, and he just walked in and goes, right, this way, do it, and just like whizzed through this kind of thing, and I just went, oh my god, I'm far too stupid to understand this, and I just thought I have to quit. I said to Robin, really, I have to quit. My first day, I said, I just can't. It's beyond me. I can't understand it. It was all in hex. It was in like just black and white numbers on a screen. That was it. No MIDI files, nothing. I was like, oh my god. He said, look, get Dave back tomorrow and get him to go through it slowly and write it down every step as he goes. So I said, look, Dave, can you come and show me again, please? So he came back and I wrote down every step on my little notepad and kind of learnt it, process by process. I actually quite enjoyed it in the end, but at the start it was very daunting.
I bet it was.
Excellent. So what was the first game where you composed everything yourself from scratch?
That wasn't until Banjo-Kazooie, because I did work on GoldenEye. With Graham, because Graham was busy with Blastcore. He said to me, I'm busy with that. Can you take over doing GoldenEye? So I kind of took over for a little while. I can't think how long I did that for. It must have been like from October till maybe the early part of the next year, 96. And then Tim and Stamper and Greg Mayles turned up in my office at Rare, my little chicken shed that I was in at the time, and just sort of, I remember Tim sat on the floor and Greg sat in the chair, and I just thought, my God, this guy must be so important if the boss is sitting. I didn't know who he was. I thought Tim's sitting on the floor and Greg sat in the chair. Christ, who is he, kind of thing. And they just sort of said to me, yes, can we hear your tunes, please, Grant? And I thought I was going to get fired. I thought, oh, God, I've done really badly. I'm going to get fired, So I played my GoldenEye tunes, the ones that I'd written so far. I've done quite a few by then. So I went, yes, thank you, and this, very straight-faced. I was like, oh my God, this is it. I'm getting fired. And they just said, yes, we'd like you to come and work on Dream with Dave. Thank you very much. And I went, oh, yeah, so that'll be fine. I'll just have to finish off GoldenEye. No, that's it. You finish on GoldenEye, Dream. That was it. I was like, oh, right. I'll just pack up, shall I? So that was it. So off they went, and I had to. I moved out the little chicken shed I was in to go work in the. It was the Dream Barn at the time. It was called. Every barn at Rare was called by the game's name. Mm-hmm. So I turned up there, and I think Dave was still in the music block, but I was in the block with the team. So we set about doing that together, and then that got started, and then a little way through it, what's the racing game? TCR, what's it? Not TCR.
Diddy Kong Racing.
That's the one. So that was going on upstairs. That was Chris Tamper's game. That was upstairs in the barn where I was, and that was getting really busy. So then said, look, we need to get Dave to come and do that. So Dave went to do that, and then I then at that point almost I got the game to myself. So then dreamed into Banjo-Kazooie, and then that was it when I first did my whole thing myself.
So how much did you actually get done on a GoldenEye during that period where you'd taken over from Graham and then you got hijacked for Dream? I mean, GoldenEye, has to be said, kind of out of all the games you scored, GoldenEye was probably the one that was closest to being the soundtrack of my childhood.
Right.
Being a slightly obsessive Bond nut that I am. Yeah, I mean, kind of, which bits did you do for that? Were you doing like early stuff with some of the final tunes that are in it? Like, which ones are yours?
That's hard. I mean, it's quite a lot. So I'd probably say that I did most of the levels, and Graham did most of the multiplayer. But Graham did level tunes as well. I mean, so it's hard to kind of go through the whole thing and say what I did. But I did, I think in my mind's eye, I think I did most of the levels. But I'd have to go through it and count it up.
Yeah, and how difficult is it, like, to kind of, because the thing I love about the game, the GoldenEye soundtrack, is obviously every single level is basically a completely different take on the James Bond theme, but every single one is essentially the same tune, just reworked. How do you take, like, just one iconic theme and make it unique for, there was like 20, 30 levels by the end of the game?
Yeah, that was just, like, I guess I'm a Bond nut like you. So I think that's my generation. Like, when I was a kid, Bond was a big deal. That was the biggest movie of the year when it came out always, So to get to do that was fantastic. So I just spent, it's good fun. When it's such fun to do it, you just can't help but get excited and get stuck into it. So I think I spent quite a lot of time. We had all the Bond soundtracks at Rare, so I could listen to those. Nice. But I spent a lot of time listening to the all the pop tracks that preceded the movies, like all the great Shirley Bassey tracks and all that, all those great stuff, and Duran Duran and all the and so I just nicked bits from all those pop songs and sort of stuck them together into the, like I think the Frigate's that's my mixture of the Duran Duran, View to a Kill with Faith No More, We Care a Lot. I kind of mix those two together.
Yeah, I can tell that.
I'm trying to remember which one. I'm trying to remember which one it is, but there's definitely a level where it might be Silo, where it's basically Goldfinger. It's
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I mean, I think I love all those songs and all those tracks. So it was an absolute pleasure to do that. I mean, to get to do that was phenomenal. I'd already been there a few months. To get stuck into that was great. So I didn't find it a chore at all. I just found it fantastic fun.
Nice.
Did you get much freedom on GoldenEye? I mean, or did you have to, get it checked with the video film people?
No, I think it was all fine. I think Monty Norman. I think, I didn't realise at the time, but I didn't think he'd given his rights away to anybody else to use his tune, actually. So I think a lot of the Bond games don't get the rights to it. He's very funny about that. So we got he just told us, use as much as you want, no worries. So that was great. And we got a little trip down to Eon to watch them filming. Actually, I went out to see them filming the next film because GoldenEye was so behind the game. So I watched them filming is it The World Is Not Enough?
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah,
so we had a day down there, sort of
nice.
watching Pierce Brosnan do his stuff. So that was great fun as well. So I think at the time they thought we were going to do the next game, and they wanted us to do the next one, and of course we didn't want to do it. So it was super fun. Yeah, great.
Banjo-Kazooie, let's talk about that then, because that's, for me, that I kind of love that music game. The music in that game is so integral to the game, isn't it? I mean, it's hard really to separate the two, particularly with all the musical notes and all that sort of thing, the way the game sounds and almost everything it does. It's almost defined by it. I mean, how ingrained were you with the team in making that sort of connect together?
I think that's part of the whole thing that why that game's so good is that we know that team we were all really good friends by that point, and we all just sat in that barn and all that silly humour that was in the game was just the way we talked to each other, shouting down the corridor at each other. That it was just like that. So it was just a perfect blend, really. I think when you get that kind of thing where you all just get on so well together, you can't help but make something good. And I was adamant that I wanted to make the music, not Nintendo-esque, because we were trying to take on Mario, right? So I didn't want to make the music that kind of poppy Nintendo style because they do that really well, and I can't do that very well at all. So I just thought I need to try and find something that I can make a bit different, And you don't know if you manage it or not till years later, really. You kind of just do your best, and I tried to make it quirky and a bit more oddball, and because it suited the characters more, because they were so opposites. Banjo was a bit dumb, and Kazooie was quite sarcastic and clever, and so I think that it was just you know, you just do your best. I'm not the kind of composer that over analyzes stuff. I just kind of get on with it and hope it turns out well at the end.
It's certainly like comparing it to like the Mario music, it's certainly a lot more playful. It's just like simple things like Rusty Bucket Bay, where you just like throw in like the whistle and the drill and just the weird noises that come in. It's really quite it's quirky, like you say.
Yeah, it's that level, funny enough, was one where I was kind of running out of ideas. So, and a lot of people like that level, which is bizarre. Sometimes the things you do really quickly and don't think about are the ones that everyone likes the best, and the ones that you try really hard on, no one likes. So, like, Rusty Bucket Bay was that thing that's that chromatic, because I just couldn't think of a tune. So I just thought, stuff it. I'll just like stick into a chromatic, it'll be all right.
That's the one that gets stuck in my head, though.
I know it's bizarre, those things, how they happen.
For me, it's the main bait, the hub world.
Oh, Grunty's World, yeah. Yeah, that was cool to do. I mean, it was all fantastic fun to do. I can't believe, like, literally, it's like nearly 20 years. People are still talking about Banjo-Kazooie. I can't believe it.
Well, I bought the vinyl. Well, it's not out yet. I've paid money for that 8-bit vinyl. I have nothing to play on. But
I'm getting that to the cinema for free apparently. So that should turn up soon. So I'm quite excited about that too.
At the risk of skipping ahead, I mean, how involved were you in Nuts and Bolts, where a lot of those tunes, particularly for Banjoland, the title theme, Mumbo's Motors, and the Gruntilda Challenge, you've got those tunes that we recognise from the original Banjo-Kazooie, but played on a full orchestra with like electric guitars as well thrown in. I mean, how involved were you in that?
I was very involved in that. That was close to my time leaving Rare. So I was doing Viva Pinata 2 and Nuts and Bolts at the same time. So I really wanted to do all of Nuts and Bolts, like sound effects and everything, because that's where I did the first two games.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the time, so I had to get in. So I asked Robin Beanland to help and Dave Clinic. So Robin wrote some tracks for that game, and so did Dave Clinic. But I did Banjoland's mine. That was one I was trying to include as many snippets of the original tunes as just stick them all together. So that was that one sort of turned out like that. But also in other levels, I wanted to make sure that there was some little reference to some tune from the first game. So that it's all over the place. In Robin's tunes, he did that too, because he used tunes from mine from the first two games in his stuff as well. So that was the whole point of it, to try and keep that touching those bones, all the time.
Yeah.
And Dave and Robin did a great job on that, so that was a great fun. I went to we recorded it in Prague with the orchestra. I think probably June, and I think I left in July, so it was close to the end. But I didn't get to finish the game. I think I probably did half the tunes in Nuts and Bolts. Robin and Dave did a lot, but I might be wrong about that.
How did that feel, like going to Prague, seeing an orchestra? Because this is one of the things I love about Nuts and Bolts is the soundtrack. Specifically, I think it's Gruntilda Challenge, where. Right. You basically have, I presume, a very classically trained orchestra who are used to playing some of the greatest, longest running music of all time, and there they are playing a quirky version of "If You Go Down to the Woods Today, You're in for a Big Surprise." It's just, it's just amazing.
That was really good fun to do that one, because there's two. In fact, I think the final Grunty's Battle didn't make it into the game, bizarrely enough. I think it's actually just on the soundtrack, which is a bit weird, because I kind of wrote like that Grunty's Challenge thing, but then I wrote the big kind of epic boss battle thing as well, which I don't think it didn't seem to be in the game for some reason. But that was really good fun. I mean, doing that with an orchestra. I'd first used an orchestra with Pinata 1, so that was really good fun to do that. And I was in tears most of the time. But doing the Grunty thing was great, because I used marimba such a lot in all the banjo tunes, the poor marimba player in the orchestra was like, oh my god, you can see he was just getting a bit sweaty, because it was getting a bit complicated. Because a lot of the marimba parts are really complicated, so I think he was getting a bit oh my God, is another tune for me to play? So that was quite funny. The poor bloke was stood at the back, having a heart attack. But I mean, hearing an orchestra play any music of your own is amazing. To get, that's the one thing about being a composer that never gets tiring. To hear somebody, a real person playing something you've written is just the best thing in the world. There's nothing better than.
So so let's just skip back a little bit, I guess. So after you went on Banjo-Tooie, was that your next game after, or was it Perfect Dark after Kazooie?
It got a bit mixed up there because after Kazooie finished, we went straight into Banjo-Tooie,
right.
And then I also got given to do Donkey Kong 64 because Dave was doing. What was Dave doing? He went on to do something else. He didn't want to do Donkey Kong, so I got to do that one. And then also Graham Norgate left to go and form Free Radical with the other guys from the GoldenEye team. So he was doing Perfect Dark and Jet Force Gemini. So Robin got Jet Force Gemini and I got Perfect Dark. So I was doing 3 games at once in that kind of year and a half. It was a hard year that was. I was doing 2E and DK and Perfect Dark. So whatever order they came out in, I can't remember. But I just remember doing between doing Banjo-Tooie, then going to Perfect Dark, then going to DK, then back to Banjo-Tooie, just round and round and round, trying to write as many tunes as I could. So that was a bit of a tough year or so.
Did you ever find that you were unwittingly turning a Donkey Kong level into a banjo level? Probably Perfect Dark probably didn't get mixed up, but was there ever? Yeah. Did you ever find that difficult to try and keep the sort of tone right?
Yeah, it was slightly hard to try and keep DK and Banjo separate, like sounding. So I tried to keep Banjo quirky, and I tried to make DK64 slightly darker. At least that's the way, in my mind, it feels that way. It was a lot more minor chords, a lot more. It just felt like a darker game to me. But some of the instrument samples from Banjo got carried across to DK. So I just didn't have the time to kind of, make it totally original. It was hard because I had just so much to do. So that, and also I was used to doing, at Rare usually people got to do a game themselves. So we got to do all the tunes and all the sound effects, and that was it. You got a game each, right? But with DK, I didn't have the time, so I did DK tunes only, and Evelyn Fisher did the sound effects. And on Perfect Dark, I did tunes only, and Martin Penny did the sound effects. But also Dave Clinic had just started at Rare right when I was doing Perfect Dark. So I asked him to do the cutscenes. So he did the cutscenes in Perfect Dark, and also he did some of the multiplayer too. So it's just it got a bit hectic for me those couple of years.
I bet they did. When you sort of do a sequel like Banjo-Tooie or Trouble in Paradise, all those sort of things, is your process different? Do you just take what you did before and remix it, or do you originally think, I'm going to try something different straight from the beginning?
Well, I write different tunes, but I want to keep the same vein. Mm-hmm. I mean, it sounds like sequels are great fun to do, but I'm not convinced they are these days. I think it's nice to do fresh stuff. So I think if you got stuck in a big sequel thing, it'd probably get a bit boring. I can think about John Williams writing 3 Harry Potters. Maybe he just did enough. You know? I don't know whether I think it can get a bit that way. But 2E was still fresh and still really enjoyed it. That was great. So I don't think I really, I think that sometimes I think after 2E, I think I was kind of banjoed out. I think I wouldn't have managed to do a Banjo 3 very well. I don't think. I think that I'd got all that quirkiness that I could possibly muster and stuck it all together. But you can only write C major and F sharp major so many times it gets a bit boring, So I think that I think after 2E I might have been a bit of a. I think it was good we didn't do 3 straight away or ever. In fact, as it turns out. But I think So no, I didn't mind 2E at all. I think keeping DK and Banjo separate, it got a little bit hard, but I think I just about pulled it off, maybe, hopefully.
I think so.
Do we discuss the DK rap?
Of course.
Here we go. Performance for you. If you know the words, you can join in too. Put your hands together if you want to clap. As we chase you through this monkey rap.
Yeah. I think we have to.
One of the
We've got
most
the Viva Pinata song as well.
One of the most, yes, I discovered that today. DK Rap, I'm going to put it out there, one of the most divisive pieces of music in the game. Because you love it or you hate it, or both.
Who hates it?
Yeah.
I'm
not sure anyone hates it.
Where did that come from, honestly?
That was just a really weird thing. Like George Andreas, who was the designer on Banjo-Kazooie with Greg, and after that he got given his own team, so he did DK64. So me and George were good friends, still are. And he said, you know, because the DK on the snares, the first Donkey Kong Country had that bit at the start where it played the old tune into the new tune, right, on that in the intro part. We thought, wouldn't it be great to do the same thing with DK64? Have the old kind of, you know, DK progressing to the new style of music, which at the time was kind of, I guess it was rap music. So George started, and I thought, yeah, it'd be great fun. Let's do a rap. It's going to be fantastic fun. So kind of George wrote the lyrics, and he wanted a kind of really fast sort of, you know, that Jason Nevins versus Run DMC track. I don't know if you remember that track. Yeah. He wanted something a bit like that. And I was like, no, it needs to be like this. so I went off and got that do that kind of, you know, traditional. It was just a preset on one of the synths that I had at the time, Roland GP1080.
Yeah.
And I just, this is great. This would be a great drum beat. That was it. Like, there was no more thought to it than that. And I thought it was really funny. And we kind of, you know, George did the rapping, and Chris Sutherland, who was the lead programmer on Banjo, he also was the rapper. And then the chorus rappers were like most of the Banjo team, like Greg Mail, Steve Mails, Chris Peel, Ed Bryan. I think they all came in and did the DK chant on the rap and the chorus bit. And I thought it was pretty funny. I thought, you know, I put a little different instrument in each verse to represent the characters. You know, like Diddy had a great guitar, so there's a bit of guitar in there. There's timpani drums in there because, you know, what's the big one called? Chunky Kong's a big guy. There's like slide trombone for funny Lanky Kong, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know. And I thought it all matches up great, but of course it got completely slagged when it came out. It was like Grant Kirkhope was trying to do a credible rap track, and it wasn't supposed to be a credible rap track at all. It's supposed to be this just funny thing, monkey singing about bananas, you know.
Yeah, I think you can tell you guys are having fun with it, and you know, I mean this in absolutely no disrespect to the team, but it's kind of proof that Brits can't rap, and we really shouldn't try.
I know. And I think it's funny because it's one of those things where it's come back into fashion again. Had a long time when everyone really hated it, but everyone seems to love it now. Yeah. Really, like I looked at YouTube, there's 1.7 million views of the DK rap. I was like, what? You know, it's like I thought there were like 5 views of it. You know, so it's. And I saw that thing, like, you know, I posted it on my Facebook page. It was like some kind of Australian Smash Brothers tournament where the whole audience started singing the DK rap.
No way.
Like, and it's like the whole room of them was massive, because they must have been playing DK on the level. They're all singing it. Honestly, I just got chills watching it. It was like thinking, God, there's a room full of 150 people, whatever, and they're all singing the DK, and they knew it word for word, you know. So I think it's back in fashion. It'll probably go away again soon.
You know, I think the Rare Replay, that's the name of the show. Rare Replay song seems to, in a way, I thought that was a DK rappy.
Yeah.
You know, the opening. I know it's the opening sort of musical number. It's obviously Viva Pinata has an opening musical number as well. It felt like I was surprised that you hadn't. It was Robin Beanland that did it.
Robin did that. Robin did such a good job on that. It's a fantastic way to. I think the whole packaging of that game is amazing. Those kind of games are amazing, and that song's great. And you know, it's like Chris Alcock did a lot of that as well, and it just sounds fantastic. What a great thing to do that was.
How did you? I mean, when you're doing Perfect Dark, obviously it's the spiritual sequel to GoldenEye. Did you have that in mind when you were putting rushing the tracks together when you had loads of other projects going on at the same time?
But I don't think I thought of it like that. I mean, for me at the time, the X-Files was the big thing, so I was just trying to do my X-Files thing. That's what I thought. So I really enjoyed doing Perfect Dark because I'd done, you know, I was stuck in kind of, not stuck, but I'd done quite a lot of broad appeal stuff. Mm-hmm. So, you know, with Banjo and the 2 Banjo games and DK now. So it's nice to get a break to write something that was a bit darker, and I could write some, you know, synthy music that was, you know, I thought was kind of futuristic at the time. And you know, it was a great thing to do, and the team was good, you know. So it was, you know, that was also really enjoyable, and it was nice to get a bit of variety. I think Chicago Stealth is my favourite piece from that one.
That is a good piece.
Yeah, I like that. That's my favourite piece from Perfect Dark. I actually wrote the Chicago Stealth piece before I worked at Rare. I wrote it at home, and I just kind of thought this would be great to bring into the game, so I kind of stuck it in the game. But I wrote it at home, like the year before I worked at Rare. It's good to do it. I mean, you know, I think that it was nice to have a bit of variety to kind of do different things.
Well, I'm glad. And I guess then you were going back into family-friendly fare with Grabbed by the Ghoulies.
Absolutely.
Which that music's still in my head. I hear the name and I hear the.
It's the creepy pause.
Oh,
music.
the pause music scares the. Yeah, my fiance. I've said this in a previous show. I'd left Grab by the Ghoulies running on the pause menu while I was downstairs. She'd gone to bed and she woke up and she didn't wake up. She got up. She went to the top of the stairs and went, Chris, the music's really creeping me out.
That's fantastic. That's a good story. I like that. That was, that when that game was first kind of loaded around and Greg designed it, it sounded like, we're going to do a haunted house game. It was like, this is going to be great fun. Haunted house games are great fun to do. I remember Ed Bryan and Steve Mayles used to always, when I was trying to think of the theme tune for this, right at the start of the game, they used to go, it should be like this, Grab by the Ghoulies. And they used to sing this funny voice like this. So I just kind of converted that into the main tune. Nice. So that's why it sounds like the way it does. But like, I guess that game isn't that well looked upon. It's a bit of a shame, really, because I think it had a lot of good fun bits in it.
We certainly had fun with it when we went back to it.
Yeah.
I think I must admit, I think the rare replay thing is going to make new fans of that game, because I think people are going to find it is fun to do. I just think we got such a backlash from selling to Microsoft and all that thing. That was all part about a lot of rare haters at that point. So people just weren't going to play it. And I think that also we were like, at the time with the Xbox, there wasn't very many broad appeal makers on the Xbox. We were like the only one practically. So we couldn't possibly produce enough games to make the Xbox a broad appeal console. We just didn't have the staff and the manpower to do it. So I think we got a rough ride there a little bit. Because I think if Grab by the Goose had been on the GameCube, it would have been great, So yeah, a bit of a shame about that one. But I still think it's a good game. I still think it's fun. And my son was like you, was scared playing it. He used to hate when the Grim Reaper turned up and used to run away and hide behind the sofa. So it was it's still good fun to do. There's lots of that classic banjo innuendo in that game that people often don't spot. So you can't beat that stuff.
Well,
on that note, we understand that it's you are the Grim Reaper playing that guitar, in triumph as you kill us.
Absolutely, that was my guitar. Yes.
In which case, damn you, because the amount of times I've been mocked by your guitar riff.
Actually, this gives me a perfect in, actually, because Steve Malpass, he dropped us a note after we did our Grab by the Ghoulies podcast to tell us some of the things that were banned by the they had what's the name? It was Fiddlesworth.
Fiddlesworth, the farmer.
Steve did tons of those. They were great. They were.
Yeah. Apparently some of the fidderisms, as Steve described them, that were banned by Microsoft included choke my chicken, right? Bash my beef, measure my marrow. Now, see, my favourite one though that was banned because the Rare team had no idea why. Cooper responds to
Fiddlesticks.
Yeah. He responds to him by trying to come back with trying to be, mock him a little bit, but yet gets it wrong. He says, "Wash my lettuce." And Microsoft QA banned that, so no, you're not allowed to do it. And apparently they were like, why? I don't understand. If anyone knows why "wash my lettuce" was not allowed through.
Yeah. Perhaps it's some kind of strange American. I don't know what that could be. No, that was like, my favourite bit in that game that got pulled out was there's a scene where Cooper and Amber are talking to Mr. Ribs. He's a questionable sexuality, shall we say? And he says something to Cooper, but he looks him up and down and goes, like that. And that was the funniest bit in the whole game. We used to piss ourselves laughing at that so many times, but they made us take it out. Unfortunately,
no.
Honestly, it was the funniest bit. He just looks him up and down and goes, like that.
There's a scene in Paddington where that happens, and that's allowed in.
Well, I know. It was bizarre at the time, because honestly, we could watch that over and over and over again and laugh every time. So it's a bit of a shame that
I think we need to campaign for a director's cut.
I'm sure Ed Bryan's got that animation somewhere.
I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah.
No, actually ask him. Well, I love the Grab by the Ghoulies music and the disco music and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, the disco music was fantastic.
Yeah, I had good fun doing that. Like it's called the Embassy Ballroom because in Tamworth there's this awful club called the Embassy that we used to go to occasionally. And that's what we called it. That it was a dreadful place. So it's named after that. And I like it. Obviously, I love that 70s disco. So getting to do a disco thing was great fun. And I liked doing the guitar solo in that one. So that was great. I like doing the tunes for Grab by the Ghoulies. I mean, I just kind of the actual, when you wander about the house, there's this kind of general sort of 46, 47 pieces of music that just play in any random order. Because I started trying to make it, you know, say play a tune, have a gap, play a tune, have a gap, and then I just couldn't. It never sounded right. So I just decided to go. I'm just gonna say when the game boots up, it'll pick a play order out of the 46 pieces and just play them back to back, and that's how it works. So it's different order every time, but that's basically how it works.
Nice. Didn't notice that.
No, I didn't notice that either. I did notice how the Viva Pinata music, though, almost sent me to sleep every single time. I think I could play that game, and if I just leant back for a moment, I think I'd fall asleep. It's been the most peaceful music in video games.
No, I'll tell you what, that's my favourite game of my career to compose for so far.
Oh, really?
I absolutely poured my heart into the Viva Pinata soundtrack. It's that kind of music that I like a lot. It's my kind of take on the Vaughan Williams, Elgar sort of thing, even though they're amazing and I'm not. Like, I tried to capture what they have, that kind of classic English country garden sound, but I don't know what you call it, the countryside sound. But I'd loved writing the tunes for that. It was just such a fantastic, and that was the first time I used live orchestra, so it was just amazing.
I do love it, and including the almost Cocoa Pops ad or Saturday morning TV show.
It's very Nickelodeon. Like
the introduction to that, the Viva Pinata. Is it a song? Can we call it a song? I guess it is a song.
Oh right, yeah, because in the game, because it was a cartoon as well, I wrote the credits tune for the cartoon, but they wouldn't let me write the main theme for it. So the main theme starts, it's written by somebody else. I didn't do that one. That was written by the people at 4Kids TV.
Right.
Like, I had a massive fight about that, and I was really kind of pissed that I didn't get to do it. I got the credits tune in the cartoon, but they wouldn't let me write the intro theme.
I see. Oh, okay. Fair enough. All right. And you obviously then did Trouble Impact. So Viva Pinata, how long did that project take you? Because that's a game that lasts. I guess it's very hard to write music that's going to. That game can go on for hours upon hours upon hours, and I don't know if the length of a game affects your process.
I'd done Grab by the Ghoulies, and Steve Burke was doing Viva Pinata, because Viva Pinata started ages ago. Like, it was like Animal Crackers on the Game Boy. It got switched around an awful lot and got changed an awful lot. And then Steve was doing that, and then I'd finished Grab by the Ghoulies, and I think Steve was doing, because I'd also started to do cameo Elements of Power. It was called something else before. That was called like Aero's Legend or something like that. So I'd started doing that, and then Steve started at Rare. So I think he was doing Viva Pinata, and then I said, look, I had tons to do. I said, Steve should do what became Cameo, so Steve did that. And then he got busy with that, so I had to help him out on Viva Pinata. So I started doing the sound effects from it at the start, and then I started to do the romance dances. And then he said, then he was just too busy with Cameo, so then I just did all of it in the end. That's that kind of worked out. It was just like I think the length of the pieces was I just thought about 2 minutes was about right. And we set a little timer to kind of say, play a piece, wait a certain amount of time, and then play another one. And so I was just trying to write as many pieces as I could in the time I had to get to the orchestra, to get it recorded, to get it back, to get it in the game, by the time the game came out. So that's as many pieces as I wrote in the time I had, really. I would have written more if I could. Was
it daunting? I mean, obviously you've been an established composer for some time at that stage. Was it still daunting to get pieces into an orchestra, these probably classically trained musicians trying to perform your music?
Well, I guess I did a music degree in Manchester, the Royal Northern College of Music. So I was a classically trained trumpet player. So I'd spent an awful lot of time playing in orchestras, as a kid, right the way through school, right through college. So I think that it didn't feel very alien for me to do it. It felt just because I kind of know how it sounds. Even though I wasn't a trained composer, I knew, because I'd played in orchestra so much, I knew how it sounded. I knew what the instruments did. I knew what they sounded like, what they were supposed to do, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't like a big leap for me. So it was, it's a bit, I guess it's a little bit scary, but at the same time, it's so rewarding to get to do that, have that opportunity. That was just an amazing thing. And to turn up, I remember going to Prague and they first booted up with that first that first tune that starts at the start of the game, and like, my God, it was so unbelievable, like this, just totally burst into tears, So that was it. I can't put into words how great that was. So the orchestra thing was maybe slightly scary, but because I've been around it a lot, I wasn't that scared of it.
orchestra tour. Like, like the Legend of Zelda symphonies going
Yeah.
around. I think we need a Grant Kirkhope symphony tour.
Yes, let's do
Yeah.
that. I'm up for that. Someone do it.
Yes. Let's make it happen.
Yeah,
Let's do
that's
it. We have that power, surely.
Let's do the gig right here. Come on.
Right, let's get out the ukulele. That's the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've covered. Have we missed any games? I think we've covered all of them, haven't we?
At Rare, I think. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and so then you went to LA and you've become, or now you're Civilization game. You're winning awards and all this kind of stuff.
I went to Baltimore first because I went to Big Huge Games and did that King's Exam.
Oh, of course, King. Yeah.
Did that. I was there for 4 years. And then we kind of that fell to pieces because of Mr. Schilling, and then so now we're in LA just jolling along. So it's kind of weird. Like my freelance career's been going great. I can't complain. I don't know how I quite managed it really. It's a bit of a bizarre thing. So I'm doing ukulele of course at the moment. So that's back with the good old team from Banjo days. So it's great fun to be back with them again because the same old piss takings just started all over again. It's almost like Banjo-Tooie was yesterday and ukulele's today. Just the gap hasn't happened. It's just the same old jokes never change. So that's great fun to do. So I'm kind of doing that. I've done the first level of that so far. So I'm waiting for the next stuff to come through. Okay. What else am I doing? I'm working with William Pugh with his new Crows thing.
Really?
Yeah. William's a great lad. I like him a lot. He's one of those really kind of he's a great designer. He's got great ideas and lots of wacky ideas too. So that's good fun to do. And I've got a couple of more things that I obviously can't talk about as usual.
When you're out there in LA by the pool in huge, lovely studios, do you miss your chicken shed?
You know what? Because I mean, today is it's the day that I started at Rare 20 years ago, and I'm very nostalgic about Rare, and I'd really. Some people don't feel like that, but Rare for me was just such a special thing. It was the most amazing part of my life. It really was. Like I went to Con Bravo in Canada like a couple of months ago to do a little talk thing there, and I was talking about Rare, and I was on the stage, kind of thing, and all that, and I actually burst into tears, and that was such a special occasion for me to be at that place at that time. Like, I was just playing rock bands, in pub rock bands. That's all I ever did, right? From 22 to 33. I had no prospects at all. Nothing was going to change in my life. I was just going to be a tramp, probably, something like that. And for Robin to kind of go and work there and make the suggestion that I work there, I owe him all of it, really. And it's like... And when I got interviewed for the Rare Replay stuff, I went to GDC last year, and Louise O'Connor was there, and that's when I recorded my little bits for that. And it was incredible to get asked to do it, and because I'm just a composer that worked at Rare. It's not like I'm anybody special. There are lots of people worked at Rare who are way better than me at lots of things. So really honoured to be part of that process. And Rare is. It's I don't know. It's such a major part of my life, and I love the Stampers to death. And some people didn't, and I still love the Stampers to this day. I think they still changed my life for the better. So I'll never get tired of talking about Rare. Never, never, never. And I hope Sea of Thieves is fantastic, and it really recaptures that old magic. I'm looking for that.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect note to kind of wrap this up.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to more about how, I don't know what it is this year. I'd have a sense that there is that old Rare magic seems to be flowing a little bit at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
I know, I really hope so. I mean, I know Greg. Greg has wanted to make a pirate game for the last 20 years, 25 years, because he just, he's pirate mad. In Dream was full of pirates. So he's always wanted to do that. So he's got his chance if he make it a good one. And it was really funny because when I saw the intro cutscene to Sea of Thieves, that basically was the intro cutscene to Dream. We had a Dream demo going, right, and it was on an N64 cartridge, and it started exactly like that. And I sort of said to him, "You bloody one-trick pony! What are you playing at? Is that your best pirate thing you can do?" So Robbie's done a great job with the tune so far. It sounds fantastic. So I just hope they pull it out the bag, and it's great.
Nice.
Me too.
Thank you so much for your time, Grant. That's been absolutely amazing. Before we close out, is there a particular favourite piece that you'd like to nominate for us to play out on?
I always say Bedtime Story from Viva Pinata 2. That's my kind of favourite Pinata tune. That was the last piece they recorded at the recording session. It was really sad, and I'd already handed him a letter of resignation at Rare, and he'll be leaving, so it's a really sad time for me. So that piece is the one that kind of sums it all up to me. It's a very sort of sad little piece, but But I love the tune, and it's my kind of favourite one I've written myself off my own, I think, so far.
Brilliant.
Okay. Well, that's
Okay,
all.
well, this is Bedtime Story, and Grant, thank you again so much.
Thank you for wanting to talk to me. It's an honour, gentlemen.
I don't know about you, Chris, but I think that's my favourite episode we've done so
I
far.
think, but shall we stop now? Oh no, wait, we haven't done Conquer.
No, oh, you and your goddamn god. Right, apart from Conquer, what are we doing next?
Well, what do you want to do next?
I'm really tempted by Viva Pinata. We've been talking about it for a few weeks now.
Mm-hmm, we have been talking about it, and I'm also eager because a game that came up a couple of episodes ago was Cobra Triangle.
Yes, that one intrigues me. I've not tried that one. And it'd be good to go back and do an older one, because I think so far Killer Instinct Go is the oldest one we've done. I think we need to go proper old school.
So I think we should do a bit of both. Why don't we try and get Viva Pinata and Cobra Triangle in, and then you know Conquer maybe.
No, leaving Conquer till the end.
No,
It's the only way to get you to pay attention.
No.
You can find all our episodes at rareplayed.com. The episodes are available from iTunes, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, and on YouTube. You can also chat to us at via Twitter at rareplayed.